Jean Shinoda Bolen is part of a group called she's trying to develop a fifth World Conference on Women, and she's part of the Circle of Advisors. And I was just so amazed at how many fabulous women are involved in this, and one of them was one of my favorites, which is Isabel Allende. I mean, I just love her. I mean, anything she's involved in I think is really good. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about the UN, and we're both wearing our buttons, which is very exciting. They're blue, and it says 5WCW, and Jean will go into that. So Jean, tell us a little bit about this Fifth World Conference on Women and why you think that's important.
Well, the last one was held in 1995 in Beijing, and it influenced a whole lot of important documents and women. The leadership of the UN and of women who are, say, presidents of many countries now, Wangari Maathai, who I mentioned as the first Nobel Peace Prize winner from Africa, they went to these conferences, learned from each other, and networked. And so when Wangari, for example, was imprisoned by her dictator for being an activist planting trees, because actually it was kind of subversive to bring women together to plant trees all over, and the dictator got uncomfortable with that, and she was jailed. And when she was jailed, she could make a telephone call. Because she had gone to the World Conferences on Women, she would have the home number of Bella Abzug in Washington, put one call through to Bella, and Bella would call Al Gore, who then acted, and we got Wangari out of jail. Essentially, if the women are going to lead and make differences and changes in the world, they have to learn of each other, trust each other. Now we have internet and emails. We didn't even have that before Beijing. We've got the internet. This would be the first one in the 21st century with internet, with wherever we have this conference, it could be satellite live to any place that there was another group of activist women who wanted to have a homegrown conference. They could tune into the major talks, share the knowledge there, and then they could meet themselves in circles and groups and talk about what's going on in their own world that they could change together. And there's something wonderful about that energy. So I talk about critical mass tipping point. That was the major reason for a Women's World Conference, is to reach that place where women's energies and maternal values could influence the fate of this planet.
You know, as you talk, and you talk about women, one of the things about women's spaces is I'm always talking about women and the children, that we are the birthers. We bring forward the future. We bring forward, just like trees, we couldn't exist without trees. We cannot exist. I haven't seen a man yet, that's given birth. What is some of your major challenges about this? I went on the website and I was reading it, and I discovered there's a petition, and I'm going, why is there a petition? Why can't we just have this conference? If we've already had a fourth one, why can't we move into a fifth one? Can you explain what some of the resistance is?
Well, it's a women's conference.
Oh, I forgot for a moment.
And there isn't the political will for it, and that's why this whole movement is grassroots, and why it's been taking a while to do it. But the grassroots movement has been moving through the UN Commission on the Status of Women, not the organization so much as all the NGOs. Most of the NGOs in the world in the last 2 decades have been formed by women. And they're women who are on the ground, who see a need, who start an NGO, and then what I did in 2002 was I learned about the UN by being there, and the only reason I was there was because I'd written this other little book called The Man's Circle, and other women saw how critical mass tipping point could change things, and started an organization of which I became a part. And then we went to the UN because in the intention statement of the manscircle.org, is to influence the UN. So I go to the UN, and I am getting educated. I am getting appalled on one hand about what happens to girls and women who are sold, trafficked, who are the collateral damages in all kinds of places, and then I'm inspired by these women who come. And I learn that they can be in countries right next to each other, in Africa, for example, but the only reason they are getting to know one another in New York City is because it's a UN-sponsored Commission on the Status of Women organization. I'm beginning to realize that if you've got 193 countries, the only way you are going to bring the women of all the countries, giving them an opportunity to know that this conference is about them, and that because it's a UN-sponsored conference, that they could get visas and go to it. I mean, I've been part of organizations that have had great international conferences, and who goes? The sort of educated, affluent Californians are there in great force. But if it's a UN kind of thing, we can get scholarships for poor women, but we can, and more than that, I just get so excited about the potential of it being like the equivalent of the Olympics for NGOs.